Okay, in this first video, we're going to talk a little bit about what's on the test and how to best prepare for it. Okay, so the first question is, what's on the test? The test consists of 5 35-minute sections for a total of 125 questions with a final score from 120 to 180. Okay, so those 5 sections are broken down into 3 different sections. And you're always going to have one analytical reasoning section, otherwise known as a logic games section. This section is always going to have 4 short passages or logic games. They're more commonly known as logic games. And each passage, each game, is going to have 5 to 7 questions for a total of 23 to 24 questions. Now, these games are similar to logic puzzles or brain teasers with rules about relationships between elements in that game. And the questions are going to be about those relationships between those elements. The point of this section is to test your abstract reasoning skills, your ability to make inferences about the elements and the relationships between the elements. In addition, you're always going to have 2 logical reasoning sections, otherwise known as argument sections. There's going to be 2 of them, and these sections generally don't follow one another. In each section, you're going to have between 24 and 26 short arguments, followed by a question, sometimes 2 questions per argument. And the argument section constitutes 50% of the test. Because of the 5 sections, only 4 are scored, and of those 4, 2 will always be argument sections. Now, these arguments are essentially short passages, and you can take them as a scenario. 4, 5, 6, sometimes even only 1 sentence per scenario, per argument. And the questions are going to relate to the reasoning structure in the scenario. The point of this section is to test your ability to reason logically, to see whether or not you can evaluate arguments. It tests your verbal reasoning skills. And in addition, you're always going to have 1 reading comprehension section. And in this section, you're going to have 4 passages. And one of the passages is actually going to be 2 shorter passages that are both on the same topic. And each passage has 5 to 8 questions for a total of 25 to 27 questions. These reading comprehension passages are the same thing that we've seen from the beginning of school, from grade 1 throughout high school and college. And they're generally going to be about something in the arts, in the humanities, in science, or in history. And the point of these passages, of this section, is to test your ability to follow logical reasoning behind long arguments and to evaluate and to comprehend dense material. So it's like the argument section. It's similar in that it tests your verbal reasoning, but it's for much longer passages and much more dense material. As for the double passage, and one passage that has 2 short passages on the same topic, the questions can refer to either one of the passages, but usually they refer to both, and they ask for a comparison or an evaluation of the relationship between the passages. Now, I did say there were 5 sections, and only 4 that are going to be scored. So this one unscored section is an experimental section, and it can come at any point in the test. You're not going to know which one it is. So you might have 2 game sections, or 3 argument sections, or 2 reading comprehension sections. You won't know which one is going to be unscored. The point of these sections, these experimental sections, is to test out questions for future LSATs. And in addition to these 5 sections, you're going to have an unscored writing essay. Okay, so that's what's on the test. How are we going to prepare for it? Well, there's actually no legal material on the test. You're not going to have to learn any rules or precedents or anything like that. The test is basically a test of logic and reasoning, verbal reasoning, abstract reasoning, that kind of thing. So what you'll need to do is you need to learn and develop your logic and reasoning abilities. And then you'll need to learn and master the specific techniques for all the different question types. So like I said, there's no legal content. It's just general information. There's no laws, no rulings, nothing like that. Just test your general reasoning abilities. But that doesn't mean you'll have to learn any complicated symbolic logic. You won't have to learn any of that. You will need to learn the difference between conclusions and premises, what makes an argument good or bad, and there's going to be some basic formal logic. But the basic thrust is on your reasoning abilities. And in addition, you're also going to have to learn conditional reasoning. This is a specific type of reasoning, and we'll go over it in detail. Now, there's a philosophy behind the test. And if you understand what's being tested, you'll understand the method. So you're going to have to internalize techniques through practice, and you're going to have to do as many LSATs as possible. That's key. In order to do well in this test, you're really going to have to put in a lot of time doing actual LSAT material. Okay, so that's our introduction on what the LSAT is all about. So please move on to the next video.